Welcome back to my channel. Today we're touring the Palacio Nacional de la Cultura, or like the head of government of Guatemala City. And here we have like this amazing building, and here I'm smiling. It was raining this day, so bring your umbrella. If you're wondering how much it costs 40 quetzales per person if you're not national, and if you're national it is free. They have tours almost every 2 hours. Take it or give it. And you have to pay only in cash. They do not accept credit cards. So join me into this magnificent tour and let's dive in. And now, inside of the palace, here are the water fountains in the Arabic patios. In fact, there are 2 patios on each side of the palace because the building is actually built symmetrically. The tiles are hand-painted and they are original from Guatemala. The National Palace was built in 4 years from 1939 till 1943, under the reign of President Jorge Ubico Castañeda. He was actually a general here. This president was almost 14 years in this position, and it had made like the entire palace cater to his taste. Jorge's name has 5 letters, as well as his last name Ubico, and he reflected the number 5 throughout the construction of the entire palace. For example, the palace has 5 floors, including the roof, the terrace, and the basement. The general style of the building is like eclectic. It is also anti-seismic. In 1976, there was like a major earthquake here in Guatemala, and the building didn't suffer any damage from it. So you can see like it was really well made. This is the courtyard of life, or the Palacio de Vida, and it was made of copper oxide, zinc, granite, and cement. These are like the construction materials. But actually the green color of the wall was painted because it was the favorite of the general's wife. You have to please the wife always. And all the golden lines that you see here are just like decorative elements, because the walls are actually made of brick, as well as like the entire building. All the inner courtyards were open, but like 20 years ago, they placed like these membranes to protect it from the rain, so they can have events on the inside. In this Patio de Vida Square, we also have a new monument, which is actually called Guatemala Capital Pro Vida de Iberoamérica, or like the pro-life capital of Latin America. It represents a pregnant woman with her baby, and it is not like over a year old. This palace also have 1,116 lamps, which are original, and actually they were made by the President Jorge Ubico and in the United States. And now we're going to see the works of the painter Adelso Ramos. So Adelso is the official presidential painter. Besides adorning the National Palace with his art, it is customary for the president to give works to other nations, and he even has his work exhibit in the Vatican. This was the 1953 Ericsson telephone exchange. The telephone alarm and clocks were all of this brand. President Jorge hired Swedish technicians to install these devices. The wires could be disconnected, and they were connected to the operator with the extension they needed. The exit for the employees was on the sides. On these monopanels in the background, the employees marked their arrival and departure from the palace. The stairs are made from the original granite from Guatemala, and the balustrade is made from cast bronze. The handrail is made from mahogany wood. The paintings surrounding the entrance are by Alfredo Galvez Suarez, a Guatemalan artist. This large mural that you see here is titled The Clash, or El Choque, because it represents the encounter of the 2 cultures that are called the Conquest of America. On the east side, you can see the Spanish culture. As you see, all of the hands of the conquistadors are occupied. This means that they brought us something from their land, either literature, writing, religion, or traditions. The hermes you see there is the conquistador Pedro de Alvarado. You can also see here above the national bird the Quetzal and the mythological point. To the right, it is also the Mayan ritual, in which you can see the sun. It is a Mayan deity, and just below it, there is a Mayan priest worshipping the sun. There is also a monolith, the burning of the incense, and the spur at the end. If you see there are two suns, one from the Mayans and the other for the conquerors, which is illuminating the cross or the religion. This battle represented in this painting took place in 1524 in Quetzaltenango, or Chela, that is like the name that you popularly call the department. And the mural on the right that you see here, they are the three Mayan princesses. And that refers to the Mayan literature or the Popol Vuh. It's in fact the sacred book of the Mayans. That even they have a museum in Zone 10 in Guatemala. And at the last mural on the right, you can see Don Quixote and Sancho Panza representing the Spanish literature. So I told you before that the palace is symmetrical. So this is the Spanish side and the other is the Mayan side. The names in here are of the Guatemalan artists and the cost of the construction was 2,008,000 quetzals.
Salón de banderas o recepciones.
This is the Salón de Protocolo de Gobierno, or flag and meeting room, where you can actually find the biggest lamp in the building weighing 2 tons. Made of cast bronze and laminated with 24-karat gold and Bohemian crystal created in the Czech Republic, it has 143 lights for its illumination, and the lamp actually has 4 quetzals of bronze on top. And this room is actually the 0 point of Guatemala. If you stand in the center of the room, you do not need a microphone because it has very good acoustics. The stained glass windows on the wall show the colonial era in Spanish culture, on the right side or east. And on the left side, there is pre-Hispanic era representing the Mayan culture. The lamps of the palace have a special design, and I mean, just look at this one, it has even like a globe inside of it. And now this is the banquet hall, where official dinners are served here, but also there are lots of works of art exhibit. And actually, don't forget to look at the ceiling. It is totally carved in mahogany wood with 24-karat gold laminate. It is a truly work of art, and really you can see the craftsmanship in its Arabic style. In front of us is the plaza, and here is where the Act of Independence of Central America was previously signed. And remember, I had mentioned before the obsession with the number 5? Well, because of the 5 letters of his first and last name? Well, we have 5 doors and 5 rosettes. The stained glass windows are in Latin, and they say the following words: progress, peace, work, freedom, justice, priority, harmony, order, education, and strength. And it actually textually says, published and fulfilled Jorge Huico in 1931, and it even has its signature on it.
Acá tienen la huella del presidente en todas las puertas.
The floor in the palace has a star-shaped pattern with checkered board, and it actually represents the power of the mind. And continuing the number 5, you can also see in the columns there are 5 candles. Again. And now we're on the other side of the palace. The previous was the Spanish side, and now we're on the Mayan side. This was actually the original entryway of the palace, in which here we have the same information about the actors and the people that contribute to this building, and now we have a different mural. From left to right, we actually have the Mayan sacrifice. Back then, the Mayans were used to sacrifice birds to enshrine the land for the soil fertility, so that they could ensure that they could have a good harvest. There's also the burning of the incense, 2 gods in the background, including the god of war. And the next panel actually has 3 Mayan characters. This is the technique of painting in ceramics, agriculture, and sculpture. The crop plants are corn and cacao. Corn as the source of life and food until today, and and cacao, which was like the barter or like the currency in that time, and all this was before the conquest. In the large mural, you can actually see the Mayans working the colonial art under the orders of the conquerors. It is seen how a Spanish gentleman received a shield that is like already has been carved in stone by a Mayan. The wood carving is the seated Maya, who is carving like a Solomonic style column, and the one that is standing on the back holding like a book in his hand, that's actually Jose de Pineda, who brought the first printing press to Guatemala in 1660. The two gigantic hands that emerge from the earth you see like Spanish knight and the Mayan princess. This actually represents the fusion of cultures, or the mestizaje. The young man that's in front represents the mestizo worker, so that's like actually the son of a couple. And for that reason, he has like a motor, which is like the industrial development or like the industrialization. And on the right side, you can see Fray Bartolomé de las Casas, teaching the Mayan children to read and write in Spanish. Up next, we have like the buttons that worker has to press like whenever they were entering the building, so they were like a combination of two buttons, and it was really fun to just press around and just go back in time. And if you continue here, we saw like a giant map in which like you can see which was the previous territory that actually used to belong to Guatemala. This like is me signaling they lost like over 50,000 kilometers to Mexico, and another great portion to Belize as well. And this is like how the territory has changed. In the other like part of the palace, we were actually seeing like a press conference that was like taking place like live. It was fun and like curious, like they just let you stroll in it. But like you can see the architecture in it all. It was super pretty and super classical, almost resembling the previous part that we were. And here we have the other Central American flags, where we can see how they have changed. They have different colors, and they're like making remodeling with like lots of art hanging. Thank you for joining me in my travels to the Palacio Nacional de la Cultura here in Guatemala City. I hope you have enjoyed this tour as much as I did, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you for joining me, and happy travels!